This episode is exclusively sponsored by CanWe. Get clear on what you and your date are looking for faster. CanWe is your expert guide on your dating journey. Check out the CanWe app in Apple's App Store or on Google Play. Hi there, I'm Vincent and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing worst ways to contact your ex. I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing worst ways to contact your ex. So if you have been through a breakup and want to try to get your ex back, there may come a time where you contact your ex. The communication stage of getting an ex back is a deep topic, and I've spoke about this in depth in other podcasts. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and listen to all of my content on my channel. This will help you fully understand my concept of a communication stage. To simplify things for now, if you're a dumper, you should make contact first, and if you're a dumpee, you should wait to hear from your ex again first. However, when it comes to the time to contact your ex, you need to make sure that whatever position you are in, you do it the right way and avoid the worst methods of contact. In today's podcast, I'm going to discuss 3 of the worst ways to contact your ex, so you can make sure that you avoid these methods. So let's get straight into this, and number 1 is public social media comments. If you are at the stage where you are first communicating with your ex again, you want to be making sure that this is private. One of the worst things you can do is try to start a conversation through public social media comments. It doesn't matter if you're the dumper or the dumpee. If it comes to the stage where you feel that you are able to contact your ex, you need to be making sure that this is direct contact, one-on-one, and something which is private between you both. You want to avoid forums, you want to avoid social media, you want to avoid anything which is public. But why? Why can't you comment publicly when you're trying to speak with your ex again? Well, there are a couple of main reasons. Firstly, if you're trying to get back together, then that suggests, of course, that you've gone through a breakup. This means that you had some challenging times. This means that either you dumped your former partner or that your former partner dumped you. There must have been some confusion, there might have been some bad feeling, and your emotional state of mind is probably not yet fully leveled off. And hence, if you are going to speak with each other, you need to make sure it is private, it's one-on-one, it's direct messages. Because if you don't, then sometimes things can get misconstrued, and sometimes feelings and emotions can boil over, and people start typing things which they may later regret. If you were doing this on a public forum, on social media comments, then before you know it, something which you feel is appropriate might end up starting some type of disagreement, some type of argument in the public domain. This is not something which is congruent with trying to get your ex back. Additionally, if you are doing this in a public way, on a forum or in social media comments, other people can see what is being typed. This is a very private time for you and your ex. You are trying to get back together. This is nobody's business but yours and your ex's. Don't let other people get involved. If this is in the comments, then this means that anybody can add their thoughts. This means that anybody can say something which they want to say, which is probably unfair to you and your ex. People might share their opinions, which have no reflection on your feelings to your ex, and your ex's feelings towards you. You do not want other people involved, so do it in private. Public social media comments can have other people getting involved, communication can get confused, things can boil over, things can get out of hand, emotions can start to go all over the place in a public way, And before you know it, everything which is private has become dramatized. You don't want that to happen. This is your personal life. This is your ex's personal life. This is nobody else's personal life. It's nobody else's business. So do your business in private. One-on-one, direct messages, whatever is said is kept between you. Be respectful for your ex, and hopefully your ex will be respectful for you, because if you put it into the public domain, everything is out of control, everything is out of your hands, and there is less chance of you forming a new relationship on stronger foundations if everybody else is watching, if everybody else is involved. If this is a public event, then ultimately you are likely to go through a very challenging time, because unfortunately people who live their life in the public eye do not often have the easiest relationships. You need your privacy, and you need it from the off. You are trying to heal your breakup, you are trying to rebuild a connection, and this should be done just between the both of you. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second worst way to contact your ex. And point number 2 is going to their house. If you want to try to get your ex back and you are at the communication stage, one of the worst things you can do is go to their house. This can be alarming to your ex, this can be shocking to your ex. And whether you pre-warn them or not, whether you just turn up at the door or whether you text them first and say, I'm on my way, this is unlikely to help you. You are trying to rebuild your connection. You are in the communication stage. You have not yet met since the breakup. Going to their house is not going to help. This is not something that you should be wanting to do. Now look, when you go through the breakup, when it is the time where your relationship is unfortunately falling apart, then yes, you want to be speaking face to face ideally. But once the breakup is finalised, once everything is settled and you are single and your ex is single, my suggestion is that you don't go to their house unless you get to the stage where it feels comfortable. And this won't be for a while. Not just after the communication stage, but you might want to meet in public places first. You need to navigate the communication stage effectively. Meet up in public 1, 2, 3 times maybe, and then possibly you will feel comfortable going to each other's houses. Of course, every situation is different and you need to use your common sense to your unique circumstances. But what I can say is that if you are a dumper and you want to communicate with your ex for the first time since the breakup, you shouldn't just turn up at their door. For a start, you have no idea how they are feeling. They might have moved forward, they might be with somebody else. But it is just alarming, it's just shocking, and it will be a surprise and not a nice one for your dumpee. If you're a dumpee and you've received contact from your ex per dumper, this doesn't mean you can just turn up at their door either. This doesn't mean that you have a right to show up at their house and start communicating. You're trying to take things slow by communicating first and then moving on to a meet when it feels appropriate. Don't just receive one message, maybe asking how you've been, and then think you can turn up at their house. It takes more than that. Go through the communication stage and then see whether a meet feels natural after that conversation. Now look, it might be in public. For numerous instances, you might only meet in public once. This is not down to me, this is down to you and your ex and how things are feeling. But what I am saying is about first communication, whether you're the dumper and it's literally you reaching out, or whether you're the dumpee, you've received a contact from your ex and you're about to reply and you think, you know what, I'm not going to reply by text, I'm just going to go to their house. Please take these thoughts out of your mind. Going to somebody's house at this very sensitive time of the communication stage is unlikely to help you. If anything, it's going to shock your ex from whatever position you're in, whether they are the dumper, whether they are the dumpee. If you turn up at their house, they will likely be overly surprised, not in a nice way, and it will almost be like an ultimatum. And when people feel pushed into a corner, they sometimes say things that they don't even mean. You might have the door slammed in your face, the door might not even be opened, or maybe they speak to you and say, look, I just don't want to talk. It might get overly emotional, things might go wrong. When if you had just taken things a little slower and communicated via text first, maybe you could have got back together on a stronger foundation. So please don't turn up at your ex's house just when you think, okay, this is the time to communicate. Forget conversation via phone. I'm just going to turn up at their house. Please don't do this. It is unlikely to help your cause. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about worst ways to contact your ex. And point number 3 is via a friend passing messages on. So in the same respect to point number 1, where I said this has to be between you and your ex, please, in point number 3, don't use a friend as a go-between. Sometimes people want to use a mutual friend as a go-between to exchange messages, verbal messages. You tell your friend, you ask your friend to tell your ex, and then to let you know their response. Please don't do this. This can get confusing. Now, whether or not your friend is going to be genuine to you both, you don't know that. For a start, your friend might be more of your ex's friend. Maybe they are more of your friend. Maybe they have their own agenda about whether or not they feel that you two should be getting back together. Quite possibly, they don't feel you are a good fit, even if you and your ex do. So even if you and your ex want to get back together, if your mutual friend doesn't really think for whatever reason it's a good idea, they may sabotage this. Now look, even if your friend doesn't do this, even if your friend is completely genuine in passing the messages from person to person, it doesn't really set a good example, in my opinion, that your communication can only happen through a third party. If you are having to use somebody else to contact your ex and then get a message back like that, that suggests that you aren't good at communicating. That suggests that you aren't able to have a good conversation. I don't think it sets a good example for moving forward. If you are speaking in this way, there is always the chance that your friend might legitimately get things confused, say things in a different way to you asked. Maybe they'll use different words, different phrases. Maybe the way they present your words doesn't come across the way you hoped. It could make your ex feel completely different to how you had hoped, and vice versa. You might be told the reply from your ex via your friend, and it just doesn't feel right. Maybe your ex didn't mean it to sound how your friend said to you. So please be careful and don't use a friend to pass messages between you and your ex. Whether it is verbally, whether it is notes, whether it's physical letters, whether it's text, whatever the situation, don't use a go-between. Now look, if you need to find out your ex's number, your ex's contact details from a friend, that potentially could be slightly different. If you are the dumper, you want to reach out to your dumpee, you no longer have their contact details, then yes, you could ask a friend for the contact details of your ex so you can send out that initial message. But that doesn't mean you can tell your friend to pass on the message themselves. I would certainly suggest doing it yourself. Additionally, if your friend says to you, look, your former partner has said to me they do not want me giving you their contact details, then you must respect this. You must respect your ex's decision. Whatever position you are coming at this in, whatever the position you are entering the communication stage with your ex, please make sure that you avoid the 3 things which I've said today, as they are unlikely to help you find success. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.